Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our next session of our ABAP learning series. So today we are going to discuss about interface. Okay. Till now in object-oriented concepts, we have covered class, object, inheritance, casting, and today we are going to discuss interfaces. Okay. So what is an interface? Interface can be seen as superclasses that cannot be instantiated. Okay, as you can see here, the class has attributes and methods. Interfaces also has methods and attributes, but okay, they are little different. So interfaces can be seen as superclasses that cannot be instantiated, do not contain implementations, and the interface methods do not have any implementations of any methods. Okay, and whatever attributes or methods you want to declare in interfaces, they have to declare over public section. Okay, you can simulate multiple inheritances using interfaces. That means, let's say you have an interface and the same interface can be inherited by multiple classes. Okay, but when it comes to classes, okay, when it comes to classes, this is our class, but this is our interface. So this is possible. Okay, one interface can have multiple class, means multiple subclasses. But in this case, when it's going to be like this, okay, inheritance, it is not at all possible. Okay, this is not acceptable. Okay, this is not possible. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, so that is why the classes do not support multiple inheritance, but interfaces supports multiple inheritance. Okay, but in classes, this class can again be inherited by another class. Okay, when it comes to this scenario, superclass, class, then class, this scenario is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, but this is called multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance is not supported by regular superclass, but in interfaces it is supported. Okay, so now comes one more concept regarding polymorphism. Okay, so when you define a polymorphism concept here, that means the same method behaves differently in superclass, and same method can be redefined in this subclass, and the same method can be redefined in this subclass. Okay, and in all these three methods, the same methods behave differently. But in interface, here the method will not have any implementation, but in this class it will behave differently, and in this class it will behave differently. Okay, so here polymorphism is vertical. If you see this superclass, class, class, in inheritance the polymorphism is hierarchical. Okay, but in interface it is parallel. Okay. So now in ABAP objects, interfaces primarily serve to define uniform interface protocol for services. Various classes can implement these services in different ways, but you need to keep the same semantics. That means these classes can use the same method as long as they maintain the same signature of those methods. Okay, that means the parameter of methods they maintain, they can use it. In ABAP objects, the same components can generally be defined in interfaces and classes to recognize the semantic differences from regular inheritance. Okay, you can concentrate on the following use cases. For example, if you want to allow multiple classes to implement a service in different way, but using the same method names and a uniform signature with regular inheritance, you would define such a method in the standard superclass. However, if you cannot model a superclass for inheritance suitably, you need to define an interface and then define the method in the interface. Therefore, you can compare this case with a generalized relationship within a superclass. Okay, so this is what we call interface. So here interfaces define services, and the same service can be the same services must be implemented in different subclasses which implement that interface. Okay, and how the class implements the interface. Okay, the interface name is listed in the definition part of the class with interfaces statement. This occur in the public section. That is, interfaces can only be implemented publicly. Interface methods are implemented in the implementation part of a class. Okay, the components defined in the interface are addressed in the implementation part of the class. Now let's implement an interface in our program. Okay, if you see this program has superclass airplane, and then it has subclasses as passenger plane and cargo plane. Okay, now let's declare a interface. So let's say this is our interface. Okay, it has only methods. Okay, so the method name is display partner and then end interface. So now what we should do, let's implement this interface in one of our class. Okay, so where you will implement that, let's say we have a class called carrier, right? So in this carrier class, implement the interface. Okay, and implement the interfaces can only be implemented in public section, right? So under the public section, so we have defined these interfaces. Now where you will implement the interface, the implementation will happen in the LCL carrier class implementation. Okay, that means here. So method, and you remember this method you need to use. Okay, So when you are calling a static attribute of a method, you are using double arrow. When you are using this instance, call the instance method, you are using this single arrow. And when you are calling this interface method, you are using this tilde symbol. Okay. Now, correct. So now coming to this, so we have declared an interface, and then we have implemented the interface method. Okay, now we are going to use the interface method. Okay, so in this section you can see we have carrier object, airplane object, cargo object, passenger object. Okay, so now we are creating an object of carrier, then we are creating object of passenger, and then we are creating an object of cargo. Okay, so now, so this GT airplane will have both the objects. Okay, so if you execute this, okay, we have to activate. Okay, so if you execute this, it normally displays both the details of the cargo plane as well as passenger plane. Okay, and here we are calling the superclass method display attributes. Okay, let's comment this one. So our interface has been implemented in Go carrier class, right? LCL carrier class. So in this loop, call the object of carrier. Okay, and here you call the interface method, that is slip partner, then tilt display. Okay, now operator printer. Okay, now activate it. See, so you are not getting any output. Why? Because we have the details in GT airplane. Okay, right? And GT airplane, under GT airplane we are calling this go underscore carrier object, right? So instead of that, comment this one. Okay, add this cargo object to object of carrier and attribute empty airplane. Okay, similarly add this passenger object to an attribute of go carrier object. Okay, now comment this one. Now to understand this, let's put a breakpoint and debug this one. Okay, so when it comes to this, our carrier has been created. Okay, that means if you go to this class, it has empty underscore airlines one attribute. Okay, if you double click this attributes, it will hold objects of class airplanes. Okay, now you are creating the object of passenger. Okay, here you are adding that passenger object, that is go underscore passenger, to go carriers. Okay, now if you go to see go carriers, this empty airplanes, now it has one object. Okay, that is object type passenger plane. Similarly, if you create this go cargo, create the object go cargo, and then we are assigning this cargo object to the attribute of empty airplanes. Okay, now I'm going to press F5 and see where it takes. So it is calling the interface method. See, LIF partner, display partner, right? Then it is calling the display attributes, because this, under this interface method, it is calling the same display attributes method of this class. That means display attribute method, that is this method it is calling. Okay, and in this method it is calling again display airplanes. So F5, so it comes to display attributes. Okay, now it is calling the display airplanes method. Okay, so empty airplanes into yellow airplane, and then plane object with display attributes. Okay, so super display attributes, and this is of class airplane class, right? See, now you must be understand how to implement a method in an interface. Okay, so these are all the basics concepts of class and object oriented ABAP. Okay, so in our next class we are going to see a few different concepts of reporting. Okay, so till then just revise previous sessions and these sessions. So in our next session it will be like mostly the reporting. Okay, and I think that would be a little bit long session. Okay, so please be patient. Till then, take care. Bye.